everyone, and welcome back to my channel. This is a recap video on my recent trip to Honolulu, Oahu in Hawaii. The next day was another big day. After the sun rose, I decided to get a quick breakfast at a place that was highly rated, that had Japanese owners and did fusion Hawaiian brunch items. Everything was super delicious. I got an 8-ounce steak loco moco, which tided me over until the late afternoon. Between breakfast and getting back into the car, it rained heavily. Like literally it poured, and I think this is how Hawaii stays so green all year round. The first order of business was driving to the Valley of Temples. It looks like a cemetery from far away, but if you drive along this road, you'll see different types of churches, monasteries. And all the way to the end is something called the Byodo-In temple. This is a Japanese shrine that is dedicated to Buddhism, and I found out about this while researching things to do in Oahu that I hadn't seen before on my previous trip. It started raining pretty hard, but luckily Hawaiian weather allows for hard rain followed by really warm breezes that gave me time to really explore the grounds, ring their huge bell with intention. I lit an incense for my grandmother since I haven't been able to see her since prior to the pandemic and had to cancel my trip to the Philippines last year when COVID hit hard. I watched a family feed fishes. They knew from their shadows that were hovering over them that it was feeding time. There was bamboo that grew so high up that it looked like it could touch the sky. Walking through the side parts of the temple grounds really felt like a fairy tale, with these pink flowers that were scattered all over the grounds and roots that were intertwined underground. Trees would touch even though they were so far away from each other. Met Fluffy, this really friendly cat who was on his way to attack a bird but decided to come to me instead for pets. After I absorbed all of the nature that I could from this place while still being able to keep to my busy schedule for the day, I was able to appreciate a few more details before heading out to Kualoa Ranch once again. This time I stopped by the gift shop to take a look at the inside, grabbed another souvenir penny, and it was then time to go onto the Hollywood movie sites tour. I wouldn't call myself a big blockbuster fan, and to be honest, I haven't seen more than half of the movies and TV shows that they have mentioned that were filmed on their property. But since I've worked in the film and entertainment industry, I felt that it is just a great way to bring it full circle and see where things are actually made outside of the mainland. And since, I am based out of Los Angeles, where Hollywood is, there was this cave that was dug out by the side of the mountain to film multiple scenes for the Jurassic series, King Kong Skull Island, Jumanji, Lost, and here I present to you Journey 2. See? I recognized those mountains in the background while I was doing my Hawaiian research. You name it, if it has a big jungle with crazy tall mountains in the background, it's most likely filmed at Kualoa Ranch. Usually if you work on set of movies and TV shows, you kind of don't really get to appreciate the magic as much. Maybe if you watch the TV show or movie later and you see all the visual effects and how everything is edited perfectly, it's rewarding. But there's something about actually visiting a space in which Mother Nature has created herself, and people literally fly from all over the world just to come to this location and pay lots and lots of money to shoot at. There are lots of fruits and other animals that they take care of on this property. They sell all the vegetables, as you've seen previously, and different cuts of meat, not only cows, but actually these wild pigs too. Check out this giant foot that has been dug out to resemble a dinosaur print in the ground. This was my favorite part of the tour, where these skulls were from King Kong and they are made out of styrofoam. And because there are free-range cows on the property that come by and eat the grass, they also sit and crush some of these bones, so it's not as well maintained as they would like. But I guess it is a little bit more authentic that way, and they do their best to, preserve as much as they can. It really felt like I was on another planet while I took these photos. Not because of the props necessarily, but because of the environment. There was sunshine, there was rain, there were clouds that moved really quickly. It was an experience. After the ranch, I had an appointment at a catamaran. The catamaran company is called Makani, and later on we'll get to what that actually means in Hawaiian. Next to our boat was another captain who was checking out our group, and he literally had a legitimate hook for a hand on his left arm. How crazy. I hadn't been on this west side of Waikiki before. I was going to be on a boat for over 3 hours. This also gave me some time to enjoy nature and the fresh air along the marina while the sun was still shining really strong. And the way that the clouds made shadows over the mountains was just unreal. I got to see the lighthouse from this other side, unlike last time where I just saw it from land. We got a chance to watch other boats sail by, and this submarine that was just chilling in the water with part of its top resting above the waves. And it was about a 90-minute tour out on choppy waves and back. Yes, there was actually an intermission where we got to get off the boat and the captain and his crew got to take a little bit of a break. And while that was happening, I decided to take a walk to go get some sake. There was a local shop in the arts district, and remember how I saw all of those amazing artists at the Bishop Museum? Well, this is all of their stuff that is open to the public for free if you have access to this neighborhood. It's kind of industrial and residential at the same time. There are apartments, businesses, small shops around here. As you can see, so many beautiful colors and murals. The sake I got was a beautiful floral front with slight darker stone fruit qualities, and it was delicious. I got to see another Audrey Kawasaka larger-than-life piece, as well as some other ones that are just breathtaking. It began to rain a little bit, but I was able to catch 3 different rainbows, which was so magical. I saw my first triple rainbow ever. You can't really see it here, but you can see the tail end of another rainbow later on. And now you will never wonder why Hawaii is called the Rainbow State. For the second ride of the catamaran, I didn't realize that I actually had open bar access. And I not only got to know the crew a lot better, but I got to meet Captain John. He literally built this catamaran that he's had for over 10 years now. His story started out in Washington State, and then he left to go sail and live his life in Hawaii on the islands. Eventually, he got investors to fund his dream of owning a catamaran, and there are no other catamarans in this design on the island. This is an original. We got to say cheers to him and watch the sunset, and he even let me drive the catamaran for a little bit. So earlier I discussed that makani meant something in Hawaiian, and when I asked Captain John, he said, yes, it means no refunds. But jokes aside, it actually is the wind. I thought that was such a beautiful and perfect name for his boat. It was such an amazing experience and probably one of the biggest highlights of this trip for me personally. As we were docking, everybody just kind of stood around in silence as we watched the colors of the sky change. It went from this pouring rain where only 4 of us were out on the deck and blinded by the water hitting our face and soaking our clothes, to warm tropical breezes that dried all of us and kind of greeted us with this beautiful sea breeze of a sunset. After this boat ride, I decided to grab some poke at Redfish, and then it was time to head back to go to bed.